Good evening and welcome to Success in the City. My name's Helen Webster and I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott, and our fantastic guest today is the amazing
Chef Dave Critchley of Luban Restaurant.
Thank you so much for giving your time tonight, Dave. And we're going to do things slightly different because Dave has got to rush off and go somewhere else. So we're going to do things upside down and back to front. So we're going to play this or that first, okay? So this or that, Sandra and I'll ask you and Sandra will ask me and you. But we're just going to do two, San, okay? Because I'd rather speak to Dave a bit more.
Yeah,
okay?
100%.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. Dave, chopsticks or traditional knife and fork for eating Chinese food?
Oh, chopsticks has got to be the authentic experience.
Yeah, chopsticks for me.
Yeah, that food was designed to be eaten by those chopsticks. So, you'll get the best out of that food if you use the chopsticks.
Chopsticks brilliant. For me because it takes longer to eat it, so it lasts longer.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. For me, a starter or a dessert, Sandra?
Starter or a dessert? A starter, and I am a savoury person, but in their restaurant in Luban, and the book, actually, the book that Dave's just written or launched recently has got this cherry blossom. There's this dessert and you've never seen anything like it. It's amazing. And if I had to pick one thing, I would always have the dessert in there just because of that dessert. But normally I'm definitely a savoury person.
What about you, Chef Dave?
I'm a very savoury person. So, yeah, I would go for several starters and kind of pick at them all together and then have my main course after that. So, yeah, far more of a savoury than a sweet tooth. So starter for me.
Amazing. So I'd 100% go dessert, and I keep on telling everyone that we have a dessert stomach. So yeah. What about you, San? Next one.
Okay, next one for me. Would you rather actually be planning and designing a menu, or would you rather be working in a working kitchen in a restaurant each night? Which would you prefer?
Oh, that's a really tough one, that. So I absolutely love the buzz of working in a kitchen with all the guys around me, and there's nothing better than that. So recently my jobs took me into more development and writing the menus, but I still love to be in the kitchen. So if I had to come down to it, I would probably remain in the kitchen cooking. Nothing beats that vibe after a Saturday. The thrill, the absolute thrill, the adrenaline, the caffeine, all of it.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And I'd probably do the same. I'd probably be hands-on rather than writing the menu. What about you, San?
Oh, hands-on, definitely. 100%. Yeah, much rather than, sitting and planning. I enjoy cooking.
Yeah. Okay. Fish and chips at the beach or a picnic in the park? Dave.
Oh, that's a good one. Fish and chips at the beach. You can't beat it. If I go on holiday and I'm near the beach, I find a fish and chip truck or stall or shop, and I go and sit and have me fish and chips looking over the sea. There's just something a bit magical about it. I do like a good picnic though as well. So, if I had to choose between one or the other, definitely the fish and chips.
What about you, Sam?
Fish and chips at the beach, but because I've lived near the beach previously, and that you'd be having fish and chips every day. So fish and chips when you go away somewhere. So if you visit somewhere for the day, or say you went over to Wales or wherever, the Llandudno or the coast, somewhere else, fish and chips. Yeah.
I'd go picnic in the park, 100%.
Yeah.
With wine.
Yeah. With wine, of course. Yeah.
That's different now.
Taking it on another level now. Have you done two, San?
Yeah.
Okay, we've both done two. I'm too excited. Okay, Sandra's going to introduce Dave, and then we're going to take it over to him.
Brilliant, because normally it goes on for ages, Dave, this and that, but we don't want to waste any time with you. Okay, so I'm absolutely ecstatic you've agreed to come on our show. This is like when John Gibbo and Rossi DJ came on all rolled into one. So I'm delighted that our guest today is Chef Dave Critchley, who originates from Chilwell and lives in Halewood now, who just a local lad amongst us who's just achieved so much, from launching his book, being on the Great British Menu recently, to winning an incredible gold award from Taste England, which we're going to talk about shortly, to being the first Westerner ever apprentice to a Chinese master chef. Wow, what an achievement. And from my perspective, Dave, you're a very young age to have achieved all of this. So how did this happen? Would you tell us what started you into this career?
It's a long story. I've been doing this 25, 26 years now. So yeah, all started as a young lad, 15-year-old, walked into my local pub and said I'd like a weekend job for a bit of money in my back pocket. And so they took me on Saturdays and some Sundays, and I'd be washing the dishes and doing basic vegetable prep, peeling potatoes, bits and pieces like that, cleaning up the kitchen, brushing and mopping. And that was it. I never really aspired to be a chef. I wanted to go and do graphic design and illustration. I actually went and studied. I went through A-levels and college and off to university to do a degree in children's book. But the whole time I've been working in kitchens, mainly this first one. You'll know it well, the Halfway House in Chilwell.
Yeah, many a night in there.
Where it all began. Upon leaving university, there was no jobs in my field for me to go into, so the easiest thing was to go just straight back full-time into kitchens. By this point, I've been working in this kitchen for quite a few years, and I used to run the kitchen on the weekends when I come back. So I drive out to Wales on a Sunday night after work. I'd do university and drive back on the Friday, ready to start work again on Saturday morning. So, I used to run the kitchen on a Saturday, Sunday. Head chef would take his days off on the two busiest days off and leave it to me when I came back. So, yeah.
Hang on, Dave, what I took from that is you had a car when you were at uni.
I did, yeah. My little Saxo, I remember it well. How it made it there and back, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it was, and that was it really. I didn't look back. I moved jobs pretty quickly after coming out of university. Decided I'd been there long enough, moved on, and then just started working my way around the city, basically trying to learn. I'd kind of caught the bug by this point. I was absolutely obsessed with working in the kitchen. Love the buzz of it all, love the kind of camaraderie, the teamwork, all the banter that goes along with working in a busy kitchen. And I basically got all my qualifications on the job, almost shelved any kind of design or drawing work, put that on the back burner, pardon the pun, and then, just pushed ahead with trying to become the best chef I could. So I was reading books. I was, like I said, I was having a tutor from a college come to me in my workplace so I could get my qualifications, got my all my qualifications done, and then just didn't look back, just kept moving up the scale really. Every place I moved to, I wanted to learn more, wanted to work hard, learn everything I could, and then move on to another place. So ended up working in some pretty good places around, mainly around Liverpool. Went out to Maghull for a while, moved back to Chilwell and was working in a neighbourhood for a while, which was really cool. Then off out to, I'm trying to remember it all now, there's so many. Down Lark Lane, I got my first head chef's job at 23 years old, which was pretty young.
Wow, yeah.
I put a lot of work into that place, but it probably wasn't quite ready, and it nearly killed me. I probably lost quite a lot of weight there, just trying to smash in the hours, make sure everything was perfect, and make an impression on Lark Lane. And then, moved over to the Alma de Cuba group. At this point, we had a few places. I went to Alma de Cuba, took a little backward step, back to junior sous chef, and then worked my way back up again. Stayed with that company for about 7 years. Ended up going up sous chef, head chef, operations chef. Went and opened a few new restaurants. Was looking after 4 restaurants at one point.
Wow.
And then an opportunity came for me to go to the London Carriage Works because Paul Askew was leaving and on his way to the art school. They needed a chef to come in and take over from Paul, and I thought I was ready. So I took that opportunity and worked there. Had a great 4 years there at Hope Street Hotel, London Carriage Works. won some awards, won some rosettes. And then I felt like I needed a change. There was nowhere else for me really to go in the city. So I moved out to Manchester. I went to work with Living Ventures, and I worked at Australasia and Artisan at the time. So I was looking after 2 restaurants, Artisan and Australasia in Manchester. That was my first real kind of taste of proper Asian, authentic Asian cuisine as well. So very Japanese led, lots of sushi, lots of small plates, lots of seafood. And I really enjoyed my time there. But after about 2.5 years, I had a phone call from a company saying they wanted to open up a restaurant back in Liverpool again. Would I like to go and open it up? It would be Chinese, which raised an eyebrow for me. I thought, I've not ever done Chinese food before. Wasn't sure until he said, well, the project involves you flying out to Tianjin in northern China and going and experiencing it all. And I signed on the dotted line immediately, and the rest is kind of history. That was Luban. Went out to China 2019 in August. Spent some time in the college there, learning from some fantastic chefs, some of the most highly ranked chefs in China. Ate at some of the most incredible restaurants I've ever eaten at in my life. Completely turned my opinion of Chinese food on its head. Couldn't have been further from what I was expecting. So phenomenal experience. We came back and we set work on designing and opening up a Luban restaurant, which we managed to open in November 2019. We all know what happened kind of February, March time. On reflection, wasn't the best time to open a Chinese restaurant in Liverpool, but there we go. And then a lot of stuff happened through lockdown, which we'll probably come back to later. But we popped out the other side, we survived, and we've had a really strong year and a little bit. And it's been phenomenal. And in that time, like you said, we've achieved so much. We've won several awards now. Great British Menu invited me on. I've been on there twice now. And then recently, just released my first cookbook. So it's all going pretty well at the moment, I must say.
Amazing.
I put a picture of the cookbook on the page. Have you got a copy there to show us?
I do, but it's not near me at the moment. Unfortunately, it's upstairs. Right. So, but it's Cherry Blossom. It's a beautiful cookbook. And it's got all the dishes that I've kind of looked at over the last few years. They've been on the menus at Luban. There's some new ones in there. There's some recipes direct from China as well. So, and it's just a really beautiful book. Really proud of it. Tells my little story at the start, and then
brilliant.
Some fantastic images. Yes.
Do you think you're studying about illustration of books? I mean, I understand you did children's book and it was fine art illustration, etc. But you think the fact you've studied that's helped you, because the presentation of your food, everything I've seen, it's beautifully artistic. The presentation's everything, the flowers, how it's set out. And I wonder if that's perhaps helped you massively in your career, the transference of skills and in the book you've created.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Someone said it to me the other day, and I suppose I'd never really thought about it. It's like the plate is my canvas now, and that's my artwork. And I'm very particular about how the dishes look. You can speak to my chefs, and I'll be like, "No, move that over like half a centimeter. It has to look right. It has to look right." And I think I have learned that from composing pictures and images and working with graphics and stuff. It's about colour and it's about presentation and how things appear. So very much so. I think that, and also the way the book looked was very important to me. I didn't have time to illustrate it myself. Hopefully, if I ever get to a second cookbook, I'll have time to do some of my own artwork in there. But time is a precious commodity.
I was going to ask and see if you'd illustrated any of it, and I think I was going to say what Sandra said, sort of, the creativity of being a designer or an artist or anything like that. You basically become an artist with food, haven't you, through food and stuff. But when you were writing your book, where did your inspiration come from? How did you choose it? Because you must have cooked thousands and thousands of things. How did you choose what your favorite things were?
To cook, I'm obviously I like to just try new things all the time. I try and be as varied as possible. I try and do as much different things as I can. And from there, I don't have an absolute favorite, but I certainly like using, I mean, I love cooking meat and fish. And I know it sounds pretty generic, that, but the seafood, there's so much you can do with lovely fresh fish. And like I said, I think it's more a case of the more you try, the more you can do. So, yeah, as in terms of favourite stuff, I just like to keep trying new things. And if there's new ingredients I haven't used before, I want to use them. I want to try and learn about them. Yeah, so that's it, really. I don't think I have a favourite. That's a hard question for a chef, that. It's like, what's your favourite thing to cook?
I know, yeah.
There's so many ingredients. There's so many ingredients out there. But yeah, I love working with seafood.
It's like, well, I had the last time I was there recently, I had salmon. It was absolutely beautiful. And one of the things I really like about your restaurants is I'm one of these paying people who's gluten-free. Yeah. And even if you got something, you just say gluten-free, and the alternative you get fantastic. You never miss out on anything. If you can't eat something or you've got an allergy, the alternative offered is like the same high standard, and it's really reassuring that, because you always be like, and I just go, oh, I'll eat anything, just, I was like, don't make a scene, just bring me anything. But there you don't feel like that, because you're going to get something really lovely, which is good. And vegans the same, vegetarian, they've got loads and loads of different options, which is cool.
Yeah, we want to make sure everyone's catered for and everyone can come and have the same experience, whether you've got a dietary requirement or something that you don't like particularly, or you are a vegetarian, whether it's a choice from yourself or a dietary requirement, like I said, or an allergy. Yeah, you should still get the same experience. In fact, if anything, I try harder with kind of gluten-free, and I try harder with vegetarian and vegan, because I want to stand out from the crowd. I don't just want to be an afterthought. Chinese have a lot of vegan food, so yeah, we want to do interesting and exciting things. And actually, it's nice when non-vegans are eating our vegan food, saying this is phenomenal, this is really lovely, what's this? And then I get to tell them.
Brilliant.
So when you're creating a new dish or a new something, do you research the ingredients and then you make something, or do you just think, well, I'm just going to put this with this and experiment?
It's a bit of both, really. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time. Like I said, so you know what is going to work with what, basically. Flavour combinations, and we like to call them marriages. There's certain ingredients that always work well together. As a flavour marriage, and that's going to work. So and then it's about just tweaking the other elements of the dish to see how it all works. So you'll have an idea, and then it's just about going away and trying it a few different times. It's never perfect first time around. It can't be. You have to keep trying it and coming back and saying, right, okay, that could be better. Maybe if I take that away, that'll be better, or if I add that, that'll be better. So yeah, it's certainly a process. It's a trial and error process.
Brilliant. So I was going to ask you about the award you got, the most recent award, because I know you were on holiday, weren't you? And I think you just came back and went straight to this event. Is that right?
Yeah. With everything going on at Manchester Airport, we got back. I managed to get into bed about 4:30 in the morning, and then I was up about 8:30, 9 o'clock, getting myself ready, getting into town, onto the train to Birmingham. And we had the Visit England Awards for Excellence 2022, and that was held at Birmingham Library, and that was phenomenal. Obviously, we'd been shortlisted after winning our local award. We won the Tourism Awards in Liverpool, the Restaurant of the Year, and because we scored so highly locally, we were allowed to go through to the finals. So that was the creme de la creme of the country was brilliant. There, and it was...
Did you know when you were going to Birmingham that you'd won it, or just that you'd been selected for it?
No, we knew that we had won an award, because you're there. Only people in the room were going to win an award of some description, but it was a bronze, a silver, or the coveted gold. And I would have been, I've said this, I think in the press release, I said I would have been equally as proud to walk out of there with the bronze medal, considering how new a business we are. Yeah, and basically all the challenges we've come through lockdown to now be in this position, in the top 3, voted by the tourism board, basically for the country. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And but when they read the name of the bronze winner out, I was like, that's not us. Like, surely not. And then when they read the silver out, which just happens to be Moore Hall, which is probably one of the best. Well, it is the best in the country for other things. It's got two Michelin stars, 5 rosettes. It's well-established restaurant, and in the National Restaurant Awards, it comes top every year. So they came second, unfortunately, this time. sorry.
Second place, second place must get the biggest cheer, mustn't they?
Yeah.
Second place, because they get a cheer for the second place, and then the winner goes, "Whoa, it's going to be me!"
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was like. I think, and I said, for a brief moment, I was pretty speechless. I was just like, wow, what's just happened? Like, what has happened there? So, and then the comments from the judges were really nice as well to hear. And like I said, that was just testament to how hard everyone's worked to survive first and foremost, and then push on and progress as best we could. So, yeah, fantastic.
So, did you operate during lockdown?
So the restaurant had to close. We took the decision to close before we were told to, because we didn't feel it was safe for our guests or for our staff, and there wasn't many people coming through, to be honest, at that point. So yeah, we collected all the food from the fridges and freezers, and then went out into the city, getting them to where they could be used. So homeless shelters and food banks, and then from there, I kind of must have sat down for like 5 minutes and thought, I'm not used to sitting down doing nothing. So I sprang back up again and was like, right, there's loads of people out there that can't access food. The supermarkets shelves were empty, weren't they? And there was nowhere that could get deliveries. And I had all these suppliers. I had like veg man and a fish man and a meat man and a baker and everything you can think of, I've got as a restaurant, as a supplier, like down to even cleaning chemicals, sanitizer, toilet rolls. So I've got access to all of them. And these suppliers had nowhere to deliver to because the restaurants were all closed. So I brought them all together and we created LIDS, which is Liverpool Independent Delivered Services. We created basically, in a nutshell, a local online supermarket where people could buy everything they wanted and we delivered it to them. It all came to Luban restaurants. It was all packaged up, put on our refrigerated vans and out across the city. And at one point we managed to hire, I think it was 7 or 8 drivers. They were all out of work as well. This was taxi drivers, chauffeurs, there's people with no work. So we managed to actually generate jobs through lockdown, made money for local businesses and provided a service to our community as well, which was phenomenal. And then I thought, I didn't stop there, even though that was a lot of work. We didn't stop there, and we created a charity side of Luban as well. And this was the start of Luban Foundation, which is now a registered charity. But we were helping local families. We supported 110 local families right the way through lockdown with fresh fruit and veg boxes, and there'll be anything we could get hold of would go in these boxes and they would go out. And that was mainly in the Knowsley area where I'm living now. That was alongside a group called Knowsley Kitchen, and we did that right the way through, which was phenomenal. And we didn't stop there either. We then created the Well-Fed box, which was an idea in my head that I kind of conjured up, which was very similar to a kind of Hello Fresh or a Gusto, one of those boxes, but for families that wouldn't be able to afford them normally. I went cap in hand and begged, borrowed and stole. Well, I didn't steal, but I begged and borrowed. And we used that money to create these boxes, and we create the boxes in Luban, and once a week they'd go out to families across Knowsley and Anfield and areas like that. Wherever we could get money from, we would make it happen, which was phenomenal, really, because it was empowering families at home to be able to cook their own meals, learn how to cook, learn a bit about the ingredients they were using, eat healthily. And it also meant that my guys had something to do and stayed in work, and we stayed active and operative right the way through. So
And
there's a lot of work.
Yeah,
a lot of work.
Dave, a massive work. And I remember like with the feeding the kids in the half term as well, because I got veg boxes from Lids in the lockdown and everything, and it was great actually, and because it inspires you to cook certain things with certain foods as well. But what you could do is you could just give a little bit more, and it said, well, this amount feeds a child, you know, in the school holidays and things.
Yeah.
So that was quite nice. And I remember you saying that one of the things you put on the pay or the emails that came out was you said like you'd had money coming in from people who moved to Australia and stuff and everything, you know. It was great. So I thought it was an excellent initiative.
Yeah, it was really good. People paid it forward, and people were buying boxes of fruit and veg for other people or packed lunches for children. And we set out to feed 100 children for 5 days through the half-term week, and then ended up with enough money for 5,000 packed lunches. So
wow.
Yeah, so everyone was rather busy, and again, we sourced them from local businesses. We made some ourselves, and then we delivered them all out to where they were needed using community groups as well. So it was just a massive, it was just a huge project, and it felt amazing to see what we managed to achieve in that time. So, but when it came time to open a restaurant again, we were all shattered. So we all need a holiday. We all need a holiday now.
Yeah, definitely.
So is the Luban Foundation carrying on?
Yeah, so the Luban Foundation has now evolved somewhat, and is mainly down to do with education with young people surrounding food and food issues. So if you keep an eye out, there's lots of little projects that the Luban Foundation's involved with now, including this week is actually the culmination of a Chinese skills like cookery competition that's been happening across colleges across the UK, and the finals will be held at Luban this Friday. It's going to be quite a big special deal. There's a big cash prize for one young chef. It's £3,000, so it's a pretty big. That's a young student chef who's learning about food, and we thought, it had to be a big prize. We wanted to make a real big deal of this person that manages to win. And there's lots of little other prizes as well. So, but it's about encouraging more people to get cooking, to learn about the produce as well. And obviously, we're Luban, so we put our Chinese spin on it. So, awesome.
Brilliant. That's amazing.
We'll share all of this on the page, Dave, after you've got all the information. How people can get involved and donate to that, and about your book and everything. And we follow the page, so when the winner's announced and everything, we'll share all of that. So anyone listening or anyone watching can check all that out on our Facebook page, Success in the City. Or they can follow you guys on Luban, because you've got your own page. You've got great social media.
Yeah, definitely. Everything's on there. Everything we get up to and is all over our social media. But the website is the best place to go to. So check it out.
Brilliant.
So who's going to be the judge for the food?
We've got a panel. So we've sent out. There's another chef called Mike Jennings, who's he's very well thought of in the industry, and he's gone out to every individual college, and he's selected his own winner on the day. All those come to the final, and we've got a panel, and there's 4 of us on the panel, including myself. So Mike will come back, sit alongside me and 2 others, and we'll declare the outright winners at the end of the day.
I'd be no good. I'd be like tasting them, going, that one's lovely, and then the next, that's lovely. Oh no, that's lovely
as well.
Made up.
But it's about attitude as well and mentality. So it's not all down to the dishes. The dishes obviously have got them there to the finals, but there's going to be some questions, and there's going to be we're really looking for the right attitudes and mentality amongst our young people, and the winner will be a worthy winner at the end of the day. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's super inspirational, isn't it, for young people going to college to be able to say, by doing these things, you can then progress, and they can sort of look at, the successes that you've had from starting off as a KP in a pub to now running an award-winning restaurant, and, being able to go over to China and things like that.
100%.
It's absolutely, it's like a little dream come true. And I think we always talk, don't we, about we don't sort of shout from the rooftop our achievements, because sometimes we feel like we're bragging a bit. But you never know who's listening, and you're thinking, oh, you're not bragging, you're an inspiration to somebody else, and you could make somebody sit there and go, oh, you worked in the halfway house, you know, and now, you know what I mean, and you've got a degree and things like that as well, you know, and it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good, and I'd like to think that I'm inspiring people. There's always people messaging me, and I try and give them as best advice as I can. My advice has always just been to work as hard as possible around me. I had to like prove to myself that I belong there. Every place I've moved to, I've had to prove to myself, not anyone else, prove to myself I belong here. I can do this, and it was just about hard work and a positive attitude, really.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so if that can rub off onto anyone else out there, then yeah, you can put anything you mind to it, really. So it's just about hard work, determination, and seeing it through to the end. Yeah, so yeah, go for it.
What an inspiration. And your food is, I would say to anyone who hasn't been, I tell everyone to go there. It's the nicest restaurant. It really is. You know, and you've got like quite competitive lunchtime menus as well, haven't you? So it's accessible for people and that. It's just
it is a cool place to go, isn't it? It is a lovely venue and everything. But I was driving last time we went, so I was a little bit fuming.
Leave the car at home next time, yeah.
Next time I was definitely right. I'm not driving this time, you know. Yeah. But it is it's a lovely venue.
And we know you've got to go, and you're very, very kindly giving your time this evening. And I was so delighted because you're so busy. We sort of had to book you well in advance to get you for this evening. So thanks a million for your time.
That's
and
all right.
Looking forward to
great. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully, we can inspire some more people.
Definitely, and we'll share all of your links and things like that. And good luck to all the young people on Friday night who are, you know, just do your very best and see what happens, isn't it?
So, and I'll see you then. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dave, for joining us.
Thank you.
See you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's just so cool. Oh, he's still there.
I'm trying to work out how to get rid. Yeah,
I think I might. He's gone now. He's gone.
I was about to remove him.
I was going to say, I think we might be able to remove him to save him.
He's so inspirational, isn't he? I love his story as well. And for me, he was a real example of someone who's in business, of moving fast and thinking quickly. And I was at this symposium today, and they were saying, you know, how do you engage in the digital sector in business? What do you do and everything? How do you put? And we said, well, you just knock on the doors, you collaborate, and he was like that. It just engage in everyone. And I said, we're very, very lucky here. We're in a mutually supportive environment, and even businesses who do the same thing go, well, come on, there's enough work for everyone. Let's just help each other. And I think that whole attitude, and that was everything he was saying, even about the young chefs, wasn't it? The attitude you have, how you support each other. And when I felt really sorry for them was, I'd booked for New Year's Eve for me and my son to go. And Ronan had just come back. He'd got home from Italy for 2 weeks, and I booked for New Year's. And I think it was the 30th, maybe like 29th or the 30th of December. He said, I'm sure it was the morning they said, oh, that's it, it's a lockdown.
It was literally like the day before, and all those restaurants had ordered all the food, and they had all the bookings and everything, and they just pulled the rug, you know, within with no notice.
And it was horrendous. And they said they were hanging on as long as they could for the suppliers and everything. And then they said, right, we'll order everything, because it was a sellout for New Year, obviously.
I can imagine, yeah.
And what they did was, I couldn't believe it. By lunchtime on that day, the day before New Year, on the 30th of December, I had an email from them, and it said, right, you've got this option, refund. You've got this option, you can take it in vouchers, which was more, and use them at a later date. And of course, I had nothing in then for New Year. So, which is what I did was, they sent us their like Luban at home things to cook. So they sent you what you did, the same, and a bottle of this champagne, Draper's champagne that they have in the restaurants, which I'd never had before. I do like champagne, but I'd not had this particular one. Oh, it was lovely. But you know, when you think, and I opened the box and I was thinking, then I was like, oh, it's frozen. It was like you had to cook, and I was like, oh no, you really do have to cook it at home. I in the oven. No, it was from scratch. but the food was lovely. The quality of the food, it was absolutely beautiful. This was before I went vegan, and we had the nicest dinner. It's really lovely. But I just thought it's that ability to think fast, to move fast, to be an adaptable that keeps, makes business sustainable, doesn't it?
Definitely. And that's why he's so successful, isn't it? Because of all the things he's when they say, I remember Des saying it took 30 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
And he's, he said before, Dave, he's worked for 25 years in kitchens as a KP and stuff, and everyone looks and goes, oh, look at him, the top chef. But look at the graft and the hard work that he's actually putting in, the consistency of going to work, isn't it?
And working as a KP, as a kitchen porter, is not it's so
not glamorous job.
Glamorous side of the job. It's it's getting your hands dirty, people's leftover food, dealing with all of that, scrubbing pots and pans, lifting heavy dishes and things. It's graft. It is graft, and it's you leant over a sink, etc. So he's definitely earned his stripes to get where he was. And
100%.
As well, what he didn't mention, but a lovely lady I do some work with who helps me out as well with interpreting and tutoring. He's done some Mandarin with Rena as well.
Brilliant.
He also knows quite a bit of Mandarin Chinese too, which is cool. So he did that with her independently, but we're dead lucky to have it. And it's certainly someone, if I had a visitor, it's one of the places I would take someone for a business and everything. And they have private dining areas as well and stuff. It's just really cool. So,
Brilliant. So I think we'll go to the start of the show.
Yeah, because we've done it the other way around today.
And we'll shout out to any kids, any little people who've done amazing things.
No, I had some. You crack on who you say, and I will find mine who I said.
So I'm going to give a shout out to Luca and forgotten his name. How bad is that? I've got a proper brain freeze today.
I wonder if he's waiting for a shout out, whoever it is. What did
they won't, because they'll have the twins, the boy twins. It'll come back to me in a minute. My little twins, Luca and Logan, who are little twins who are now 9, who came to Whack It Ball last week. And we did things a little bit different last week because some of them were still on half term and things, and they wanted to play musical chairs and they wanted to play games. And sometimes, if things aren't the same every week, it's a little bit, it's a bit different and stuff. But they just mucked in and they were brilliant. And they're really funny because they have their own little code with each other. And we played musical statues. And Luca was like helping and he was turning the music off. And then as they all froze, he was picking like everybody else except for Logan. And I was like, no, you can't just pick. I said, he can't win. I said, and he was like moving all over the place and all. But they have a little code with each other. It's like dead cute. So a big shout out to them just for being amazing and turning up every week and just doing great things now. They're just like, they've advanced so much. It's great. Yeah, with social skills and everything, it's boss.
Okay, well, my shout outs to someone who I got from, there's a group called the Wirral Copper Jar, if people don't know. It started off in a pub, putting coppers in, and they all help each other. And now it's escalated massively over the water. And they haven't put the lad's last name. There's a young man, he's young, the lad, I can see him here. He's they gave him £100 because this young lad, Caden, stayed with a woman who was contemplating suicide and supported the young person and supported her till help arrived.
Wow.
And he said he's buying clothes with his winnings.
Oh, what an amazing young man.
And I just thought young people are just so fabulous. Sometimes get a bad press. All we see is great stuff going on all the time.
And that's it, isn't it? They never shout out of these amazing little people who've done great things. You just find all the horrible stuff in the news, but massive shout outs. And there's lots and lots of young people who are just doing cool things every day, aren't they? So keep rocking, doing your amazing stuff all the time. So success this week for you personally.
Well, I was going to say, you go first.
So mine's not as exciting as yours if you're going to talk about what you're going to talk about. But it was pretty cool. So I on Sunday, I thought, so I'm doing my race, aren't I, in 20 days? I think it's 19 days now. And I haven't I haven't really trained, which is my bad, and I'm really
I
disappointed in myself.
I'm definitely going to train for this. I remember
Definitely
this.
going to train for this. Yeah, and I was going to eat well and everything, and I haven't, and I've only got myself for that. But I'm still going to, do the race and everything like that, because it's all about your positive mental attitude, and your mind will get you through anything. So if I was to turn on and say, here's £1 million, do 100 press ups, you'd do 100 press ups. So your mind, yeah. You would, your body can do what your mind tells it to. So I thought I better go out and do a little something on Sunday. So I went out, and Poppy and we did, so we did 12 miles, we did 12.5 miles, which I thought was pretty cool considering I've done 3 miles, I think, or 4 miles is my longest run. So I thought we'll go out, and we were going to go out for longer. The route I'd planned in my head, I thought, oh, this is about 12 miles anyway. It would have been about 18 miles. So I'm going to do that on Sunday when we come back from the wedding. And then I'll just taper off then. And I love, so Man versus Coast, their mantra is, it's about the finish line, not your finish time. Right. And I just love that, because that means that they do just want everybody to cross the line. So it doesn't matter about time. And I'm not doing it for time. But I am going to do it, and I think I'll go back and probably do it again next year, but this time I'll train for it. So that's my success.
From my point of view, Helen, the fact you can just say, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, jump up and do 12 miles, as someone who's not ran a mile, I'll walk far, no problem. I can walk some distances, but running's another kettle of fish. It's just not my cup of tea. So
I walked and run it. I didn't run it all. I walked and ran a bit, and and I just thought it's just about knocking the miles off, going to the next, the next stage.
And then able to walk the next day, no bother, which is another achievement as someone who hobbles after the coastal walk. The was a 15 mile. So we've had a few successes. We had a good time, didn't we, on Friday afternoon? We had
a lovely time on Friday afternoon with our previous guest.
Yeah, ladies, that's right. Of course, Leslie's been on the show, hasn't she? And Ladies Who Lunch, and Anna Sexton was there, who's been on the show as well. And we had a great time. It was really good, and seeing the positive work they do, and that. So that was cool.
So for those who haven't seen it, it was a Strawberry Fields fundraiser afternoon tea.
We did.
And she'll be shared, when she shares the amount that they've raised, we'll share it on our page.
Yes.
There's lots of people who are interested in it.
There because the Golden Girls came as well, which was fabulous. And then we had 2 tables as well. So that was great. And then, so we've been really busy, loads of stuff going on. And today I was at a lovely event, actually, at St. George's Hall. And it was the very first one nationally. Again, another first for the city. It was the UK Digital Heritage Symposium. And what that means is, and I didn't know this, the city's got 2,500, over 2,500 listed buildings.
Yeah. So, don't you remember that from our quiz? On our quiz during lockdown for inclusivity, I think it might have been either my dad or my Uncle Ron had a question of how many listed buildings, and I was thinking, well, there's probably about 40.
I think Uncle Ron asked that. I'm sure of it. Yeah, well, 2,500, I'd forgotten. Anyway, so Gary Miller and other people there were talking about that today. And it's all about how we can maximize the buildings we have in the city to help everyone. So, my big thing is about international tourism, to bring people from abroad and things like that to come and look and showcase what we've got. But also local people, so people think it's accessible. And this idea, oh, we don't go there, that's not for us. And that's what they were saying. No, actually, the buildings are ours. Everyone has the right to go into St. George's Hall, for example. Everyone can see those. So it was really interesting. And there were people who were there who were all passionate about it. And I sat on a panel, bizarrely, on the stage, a Q&A session. And I spoke
How did you get to do that?
Well, it was arranged without me knowing.
Okay.
And I went to help. As usual, I was clueless as to what was happening. So I turned up and I went to help Mark Carr with his stand, because he does digital stuff.
Who's a previous guest of ours.
Previous guest, that's right. Yeah, so he does these 360 degrees tours that are massively interactive. My company does the translation for them and voiceovers, etc. So if people click on something, they can read it in another language. And I had to explain to the digital people today, because they're all machines, that machine translation doesn't work. It's not the best option, and that's how you end up with, like, instead of paper jam on a photocopier, paper marmalade, because it's mistranslated and stuff like that. So if you speak languages, you get it. If you don't, you don't. So I had to explain all of that to them. So anyway, he says, "Oh, we thought you might want to do it," and I was like, "Righty ho." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So, but it was interesting because they asked some really important questions that were relevant, and a lot of people came up to me and said, we hadn't thought of the importance of having foreign languages. And I was saying, you know, we went to a rowing event in Salford Keys the other week, the dragon boat racing, and even there, as my son said, they had welcome in all the different languages and that. We don't have that. The cathedrals have leaflets, both cathedrals have leaflets in other languages. That's about it. You know, you don't go to places and you're given all the options, and you know, where you've got audio tours in some places, they'll have them maybe in a few languages and that. And you think there's so much more, or, you know, you have to be able to say, oh, the toilets are over there. You know, this is my thing I bang on about. I think I've been passionate about this since I was about 10. I really feel so strong about it. So it was lovely to be part of that and engage with people and see how we can work together with the digital offering. And they were saying that Liverpool is such a brilliant city for startups, for small businesses. And they were saying, you know, why do you think it is? And they said, how can you get in with digital people being in your sector? And I said, well, I'm very lucky to live in an area where all these businesses just support each other and help each other, and it's about growing together. So it was a brilliant event, and I really enjoyed it, and I was glad to be part of it, actually. So good day by all, really.
Very good successes then, isn't there?
Yeah, really lovely people as well from Culture Liverpool and St George's Hall, who just share the passion I've got about the beautiful architecture and the buildings, and how it is for everyone, and every single person should be able to access that. So it
definitely
was
brilliant.
The change from I got my tongues to work or something like that, doesn't it? Which is me normal success.
That's a good success. That's a good success. So have you got a red face moment?
No, I normally have, but I haven't. I've sort of gone through, actually, I have got a red face moment from Saturday. It's too humiliating to disclose because it's not even funny. But
so we want like a funny, humorous one that we can laugh along with.
Just the usual throwing the spoons across the floor and things like that. What about you?
No, I had my good one last week, didn't I? With the man in the camper van.
That was amazing. That was one of the best ones ever.
Yeah, that was amazing. But no, I don't think I've got him.
Face. So you know what's going to happen now? We're going to have a prize one for next week. Yeah. Neither of us have got one. I bet Dave had a good one, actually. We should have asked.
I know, but there's lots. I'm trying to think of it. Are there any that involve like chefs? I do remember one. Because I used to run pubs, and the chef was quite a lot of chefs are quite volatile, and they're a bit like, you know. And one of the chefs was like a particularly, he was Portuguese, and he was particularly like, you know, just an absolute, and he used to speak to the waitresses dreadful. He was just like awful to the waitresses and this and that. Yeah. And I remember just walking into the kitchen because something had happened, and I shouted microwave monkey or something like that. And he just went like that. He just picked it and just threw a spatula across the room at me and stuff like that. And I was his boss technically, but he was absolutely like blazing. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, well, you're not a chef. I said, you just put things in the microwave to heat them up. And he was like, but he was absolutely, he wasn't. He was a very, very good chef, but he was just being so horrible to one of these young girls.
Yeah.
I just thought, right, I'm getting my own back on you. And then I said, see how you feel? I said, well, that's how she feels. I said, to be kind now. And then he was very nice after that.
Absolutely, Dave. But that's what Dave was saying before. It's about attitude, isn't it? You know, so you know, I lived in various pubs in London because of my husband's job at the time. And I remember we went to one place and he went, look at this. And he showed me the back of the kitchen door, and there was all marks on it. That's from where he throws knives. So sorry, chefs, you've got quite a reputation.
Yeah, it is quite a stressful environment to be in the kitchen. You've got to have a good team around you, and you've got to have the good communication skills to be a chef. To be a successful chef, I would say. So do you have a shout out to any grown-ups? Any grown-ups who've done amazing
things? I do have a shout out. Again, you go first.
So I'm going to shout out to Danny de Brabander and his gang. Did you already have him? Did you?
Yeah. Carry on.
But they've raised £90,000 now, which
that's incredible, isn't it?
Was just unbelievable. He shares his story every time he goes back for an appointment or a treatment or something like that. He shares his story, and he always shares his story. He's always like so positive about it. Yeah. Not positive about having cancer or anything like that, but positive about how he shares it and how the amazing things that he's gone on to do and stuff. But the best one that he shared a couple of weeks ago was he was at a stand in an exhibition just doing his normal everyday job.
Yeah.
And he shared a photograph of himself, and it was lovely because he was just at work. It wasn't about his treatment or anything like that. It was just him at work and stuff. So well done to Danny and Team DBD, because they're just unbelievable, aren't they? With rallying around and helping each other and stuff.
Definitely. So I've got a few people to shout out. First of all, shout out to Leslie for the brilliant event on Friday, and she was helping her friend at the Rolling Stones concert at Anfield, and the Bunnymen were on as well on Thursday night, and then she had that event on Friday, and then she was off doing something else Saturday. So good for her for just having the pure energy. Shout out to our guest this evening, who was ecstatic to get on, and they won, as he said, the Gold Award for Taste England, which basically means it's the top restaurant in the country for tourism. So he was just ecstatic about that, and that's great. We've got that in our city, including London, everywhere, You think of Rick Stein's places in Cornwall, all the fantastic restaurants we've got in the country, and then we've got that here. So we're so lucky. So massive shout out to him. Shout out to Danny, I was going to do as well, but you said him already. And shout out to Fran McNichol, who's carrying on across the Mongolia. Got about another 6 weeks to go, I think.
She's done 1,000 miles now. Did something pop up 1,000 miles or something she's done?
Yeah, and she'd set a target, but she's achieved the target, but she's cracking on with the fundraising, which is for children. I think she'd raised over $5,000 already. Wow. So the Operation Blue Wolf, it's called.
Blue Wolf, yeah.
That's it. So I can't wait for her when she comes back to come.
We'll get her back on, I think, when she comes back.
Yeah, because that's such a brilliant thing she's done there. And shout out to yourself, because you're raising money for Histio UK, aren't you?
I am indeed.
Your friend, Jo. And because of her daughter Zoe, and that's the charity that supports the condition she had. So, and this is what this coastal run's about that you were talking about, that you're just going to go off and leg it and achieve no bother as you do.
Yeah. And so it's 25 miles from Penzance to Land's End, and you run and you jump off the cliff, and then you have a little swim, and you come back out again, and then you run across rope bridges and things like that. So it's amazing. It's pretty cool, all the stuff that it's going to do. But the most beautiful thing is, and our gorgeous Joe's listening in. Yeah. So the most beautiful thing is that Joe and Dana and the gang are actually coming to the finish line. So they're driving down from Liverpool all the way down to be at the finish line, which will be like mega emotional, but it'll be amazing. And then the lady who runs the charity lives in that area, so so they'll be making the donation over to the charity, which is a lovely thing that you get to see who the money's going to and stuff. And I think Joe's raised maybe nearly £5,000 now. So Margie Kelly did the Manchester Marathon. I'm doing this, and then she's had other little bits and pieces and donations and things like that. But yeah, I think they've raised nearly £5,000, which is amazing. Almost 4,000. Sorry, almost. It'll be almost 5 soon, Joe. We'll be on to that.
Helen's done a run, Joe. Don't you worry.
Yeah, we need to get that up to 5. So that's an amazing achievement from the Swingies.
From you, because you're doing that run as well as Joe. And her fundraising effort. So I've shared the link for that, and I'll keep sharing it, because even just £1 If everyone just gave, we've got over 1,000 followers. If everyone gave £1, you know, it's £1,000, isn't it? So
exactly, yeah.
Find a cure. Oh, look, she's so proud of you already.
Oh, she's gorgeous. Gorgeous human being with gorgeous. So positive challenge wise, we do a positive challenge. So we would, before the show, Dave came on a little bit earlier and we were asking him about, you know, what a positive challenge would be and stuff like that. And he said, you know, to create a gratitude list and be grateful for, you know, what you've got and stuff. And there's lots and lots of books out there, isn't there? And it says, you know, be grateful for what you've got and, you know, things like that. And sometimes it's quite difficult, you know, to be grateful for what you've got. But sometimes you just think, you know, just have a little look around and think, you know, you've got this or you've got that. Or we had a great day, didn't we, on Sunday night? And we went down to the beach, didn't we? Me, you, and Ro, and the dog.
It was Friday night, was it?
No, Sunday night we went. Sunday. It was Sunday night.
It wasn't, because my mum came on Sunday for tea.
No, it was Sunday night.
I'd laugh.
Philip gone to work.
Really?
Yeah. And we went to 9:30 on Sunday night, about 9 o'clock on Sunday night, didn't we?
No, my mother left at 8 o'clock. These are the shows. People, just talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that it's Sunday night. And you came and picked me up, and we went down to Crosby Beach, me, you, and Ronan. And we walked along the beach.
It was Sunday night.
It was.
You were waiting for me to realise then, weren't you?
So we walked along the beach with Poppy Dog, didn't we? And then we walked back, and we had made a hot chocolate, and we sat on the little thing. We had a hot chocolate. We watched the sunset, and it's just an amazing place. And we're quite blessed where we are. We have so many. We have beaches and we have woods. And
it's Saturday night.
I think you'll find it was Sunday, but that's okay.
Because Phil went to stay with his son.
Oh, he did.
See, Ronald Furnival, Uncle Ron. It's not my red face.
No, it's mine. It was Saturday night.
Because my mum was here till 8 o'clock. Made a tea. It was Saturday night. It was
Saturday night. It was Saturday night. Apologies.
For the night.
That's right.
No, it was amazing. We went down to by Blundell Sands, didn't we? By Crosby, by the Anthony Gormley statues, and it was just beautiful. It was windy, but we all got the most gorgeous pictures, didn't we? And it was just like therapy and just breathing, and it's true. And I think, you know, I'd had a bit of a bumpy week, a few days last week, and you just got to say to yourself, I'm so lucky because I live somewhere in the world where I can go for a walk on the beach. And there's people who live their whole lives and they never see the coast. There's people who die who've never ever been to a coast or a beach in their whole lives, and we're just dead lucky. And it's appreciating the simple things that you can. Because the simple things are the most important things as well.
Definitely. So our positive challenge then is a little gratitude. Just have a little gratitude. So it's my red face for next week is that I had a big argument with you on Saturday and Sunday.
That's not an argument.
That's not an argument. No, I know.
It's just
we had a slight.
We always have this. No, that wasn't that day. Yes, it was. Neither of us got a concept of time. That's why.
I know. I was thinking, I know it definitely was Sunday because Phil wasn't here, but that's right. I forgot he'd gone to stay with Jack.
My mum came to the tea.
Yeah, okay. So, never mind.
And I slept like a lot.
It was Saturday night, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, we are. Joe, try 5 things to be grateful every day. I do, yeah. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It can be lots of little things, and you're just, you know, and a gratitude attitude, you know, you just gravitate more nice things towards yourself.
I did that in the lockdown. I wrote 5 things I was grateful for every day, and then there was something else I wrote, and then something I'd learned about myself. There were 3. Lynn Hankinson told me that 3 things I had to do every day, and it was just really good. And when you're just grateful for simple things. Perfect dippy eggs was on my list today.
Oh, yeah, good shout, Joe. You can't beat a perfect dippy egg. That's the one thing since I've been vegan and plant-based is I really miss eggs.
Well, you know,
Like
I eat eggs.
You eat everything. You eat salmon and all sorts.
And fish. I eat eggs.
And lamb.
No, that was at Easter. Yeah, well, when you go to your mum's for Easter and there's only you and her, and she says, "Are you still vegan?" And I went, "Yeah." And she goes, "I've done lamb." Would you pass me a potato? You like that? Mum's lamb's gorgeous.
I can imagine.
Really good cook. So I did have the lamb and I really enjoyed it actually. But generally speaking, I try to eat vegan food as much as possible. So.
Okay. So we're going to close the show. So Dave gave us the mantra to live by, that he lives by. And he said he just sort of says it in his head and stuff like that. And he's basically said, you can accomplish great things without tramping on anyone else. So basically, like, you can go and do as many things as you want, take everyone with you, and just, you know, be a kind and be a good person. That was his mantra, which I think is a great one. So I want to say a massive thank you to you, San, a massive thank you to Dave for giving his time today. He did have to dash off, but great that he gave his show. And we've done things back to front and upside down, but that's okay. And and everybody put in your diary the 12th of July.
We've got save the date. Yeah,
save the date. Yeah, save the date. Tuesday the 12th of July, we are going to be going live from our venue, which will be coming soon with more details. So yeah. So thank you for listening in, and we'll speak to everybody next week. Goodbye.